we bring in a friend who we've known for years and years and years. He's an author, relationship therapist, Dr. R.G. Alan Wilson.
Some expert advice on how we can all talk to them. Joining us now is relationship expert Dr. R.G. Alan Wilson. She's the author of Courageous Conversations Connect. Good morning, R.G.
Doctor, good morning. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning, Janelle. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
And as we mentioned, a lot of people just dealing with anxiety during all of this. What are your suggestions?
Some of the things that we need to remember is that this is temporary. This is temporary inconvenience for long-term gain. And as long as we stay healthy, Janelle, then everything else is recoverable.
Talk to your children about what's happening right now. What are the best ways to do that?
There's some do's and don'ts, right? So you want to tell them that you're going to be here. We're going to be okay. Kids want to know that they're secure and they're safe. So predictability, structure, and consistency. You also want to let them know you have a plan. And even if you don't have a plan, tell them that you're working on one.
Hey, good morning, everyone. It is May 1st, believe it, 2020. I was about to say 2013. I don't know where I was. I was back when we didn't have social distancing, I think. Well, listen, I'm Dr. RG, and this is your Courageous Conversations Connect space where we're having our daily morning quarantine talks. And I'm just excited to be here on the first day of May. I already see some people jumping on, Billy Joe and Tom. Thank you so much for joining. We're going to have a great conversation. Thank you, IG family, for hanging in and joining with us, along with our Facebook family and our YouTube family. We're going to come right back. We're going to have a rich conversation about purging. All week we've been talking about purging. Well, today we're talking about letting go of fear and negative thoughts, right? And we're going to also recap all the other things that we worked on with regards to purging this week. So stay with us. We'll be right back. For almost 8 weeks. All right. I was saying to my IG family that I feel like we've been in a vortex. We just took a quick break from our sponsors. Tom said he loved the intro. I hope you like the ways in which we are highlighting our sponsors as well. And so that we, really want to make sure that we have this conversation together. We want to make sure that we highlight, if you all highlight the quarantine talks, we want as many people to listen on our conversations as possible and grow. That's the goal to grow together. So I always ask, give me some thumbs up, some smiley faces, some hearts. That helps with our algorithms. Going over to our YouTube page, we've got some nice content over there. Subscribe, tell other people to subscribe, hit the notification button so that you can get notifications. Please share, like these. This really helps us. We want as many people to get this information as possible. We want to have a courageous conversation together. And then, quite frankly, for those people who cannot join live, we want you to be able to allow them to see what we're talking about when it gets archived, so that other people can take in this information. This information is not just for us, it's for everybody. So welcome to the show. Welcome, Billy Joe and Tom. Thank you for joining. As always, I don't take it lightly. Morgan doesn't take it lightly that you join in with us every Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. So the conversation around purging, I had asked you guys yesterday to think about, the recap. The recap is that we talked specifically on Monday about the art of letting go and moving on. And then we talked about, oops, I did not put this on Do Not Disturb. Sorry about that. There we go. Sorry, guys. Then we talked about unforgiveness, right? And letting go of unrealistic expectations. And then yesterday was loyalty conflicts. And today it's letting go of fear and negative thoughts. I felt like we needed to recap those conversations that we had and button them up today with the fear and letting go of the negative thoughts that I believe sometimes permeate the spaces in our head and then subsequently permeate the atmosphere. So with that in mind, you all know what we do. We do our breathing. Gloria Jean is on. Good morning, Gloria. We do our breathing exercise early in the morning. Natalie? Oh, awesome. Thank you for joining, Natalie. I haven't seen you in such a long time. I miss you. So we do our breathing exercises, and I would like for, good morning, Charla, for you all to tell everyone in our crew, we call our crew Connecting Relationships for Epic Wins. Who are you breathing for? We're breathing for ourselves, of course, right? We're bringing oxygen into our lungs. We're expanding our lungs. In fact, some of us have gotten better at holding our breath to 10. That's what we try to do. If you can't go to 5, but we try to go to 10. We do that 5 times, but we're breathing the oxygen and out carbon dioxide. But we're also breathing in positive messages, and we're breathing in joy and love and serenity and peace. But we breathe out the things that are not so good for us, like worry, fear, anxiety, and pain. The other thing we do is we list in the chat who it is that you're breathing for out there. Is it an essential worker? Is it a family member? Is it someone, Lord forbid, that has come down with the virus and you're breathing because they can't breathe for themselves because this virus attacks the lung capacity? Are you breathing for those people on the front lines? Are you breathing for the families that maybe have dealt with a loss, or a family member that has to deal with the fact that their loved one is in the hospital and they can't see them or advocate for them, or in a nursing home? Put in the text chat who you're breathing for, because the truth is, facts, we're all in this together. We don't get out of this together. We don't get out of this pandemic by ourselves. We will grow through this together. We'll develop the strengths, the ways in which we're resilient, and we'll find newfound connections in this process together. I've already found newfound connections with all of you. And who knew that this was how we would be spending our mornings Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock together. So we're breathing. We're breathing. Gloria says, breathing for my fiance who has to find a reason to go out of the house hunting every day. Okay. I think that's difficult for many of us. I mean, we really are in 7 weeks of quarantine. So many people are trying to find reasons to get out of the house. And what I would say, Morgan and I were talking this morning, he walked around our property and felt like he got some good fresh air. I'm going to do that after this broadcast, this show. And we have to find safe ways to get out of the house. We have to also remind ourselves, as the country is opening back up, this virus is still out there and it's still waiting. So we have to remind ourselves not to get too caught up in the emotion that we've been in the house for a long time. We have to be safe. Billy J says she's breathing for you. Oh, you're breathing for me. You hold it down for all of us. Oh, thank you, Billy Joe. I appreciate that so much. We are doing this together. Morgan and I do this not only for you, but this gives us life. This gives us energy. So let's get into our positions. Back straight, loosen the body, right? Put your middle finger to your thumb. If you like that posture, you can also put your hands over each other and sit it on your lap, or you can put your hands beside your lap, whatever is most comfortable for you, but sort of relax your body, move that energy around. And at the sound of my voice, I'm going to count to 3. We're going to breathe in through our nose. You all know the drill. We're going to hold it for 10 seconds if you can. That builds up your lung capacity. Many people aren't able to breathe because they can't get the breath into their lungs. So we need to practice this throughout the day, building up our lung capacity. And then we breathe out through our mouths. Okay? Ready? Let's go. 1, 2, 3. Breathe in. and out. Breathe in. And out. Breathe in. And out. Breathe in. And out. One last time. Make it count, guys. Breathe in. And out. That felt good. That felt good on this May 1st, the first day of the month. This is Morgan's birthday month. So everybody say happy birthday to Morgan. He likes to celebrate his birthday for the whole month, although it's just May 22nd. It's one day out of the month, his born day, but this is his birthday month. So say happy birthday to Morgan. Tom says he's breathing for peace, as we all should be breathing for peace, right? It's really, really important. So thank you for hanging in. This is the Courageous Conversations Connect space where we are having our quarantine talk every single day, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. If you know someone, bring a friend next week. Tell people over the weekend that this is where we're at so that we can bring more people onto this platform. Go on over to the YouTube page, hit the subscribe button. There's other content that's going to be on there of other engagements that I've had. We've had some wonderful engagements already this week outside of this platform. We did a time to forgive with the city of Philadelphia. Reverend Naomi Washington Leaphart led that discussion. It was amazing, with lots of faith-based community leaders, from rabbis to people that were in the faith, the Muslim faith, as well as the Christian faith. They also had emergency response people on that call, and we're all grieving together. So that was awesome. And then we did with the Detroit Wayne County Integrated Mental Health Network. We did a talk yesterday in terms of working with mental health professionals and how we need to do a better job of taking care of ourselves in the midst of this pandemic so that we can help other people. So how to tackle those courageous conversations both with ourselves and with our clients. So we're going to be doing more of those things. And when we can, we will post those broadcasts. They won't be live, but we'll try to post those so that you all can hear or see them as well. So do that for us. Give us a thumbs up. The smiley faces, the hearts, those help with the algorithms. Share so that other people can come on board and know that we're doing this, that we're having these conversations. These are really hard conversations, by the way. They're not easy conversations to have. And the goal here is not just for you to have the conversation with us, but it's for you to carry these conversations into your relationships with your loved ones, with your family, with your friends, with your coworkers and your colleagues, quite frankly, with yourself. I encourage people to kind of recap on your own. Yesterday, when we were talking about loyalty conflicts, I was asking people to think about what is it that you're struggling with regards to your own loyalty conflicts, and to bring that back to this conversation today so that we could talk about it, because I think that that's new language for people that they hadn't heard before. Quite frankly, I think that the 3 L's that I talked about were very, very powerful language for people to kind of process, that there are times where we stay in relationships past our expiration date because of loyalty, because of legacy, or longevity. I want to say that again for those that are just joining: because of loyalty, because of legacy, and because of longevity. And so I wanted, to incorporate that even in the discussion today in terms of unpacking this conversation of loyalty conflicts and moving into letting go, purging your fear and your negative thoughts. How have you stayed in relationships maybe far too long because you were so loyal to those relationships, and you felt that those people were going to change, came to realize that perhaps they weren't ready to change or they weren't able? There's a difference between whether you're ready and willing, or whether you're able. There's some people that are able, but they're not willing. There's some people that are willing, but they're not able. Then there's some people that are willing and able to begin the process of change. And so you hang in there with them. But if you're overly loyal to relationships that are not healthy for you or that are harmful to you, that are filled with negative energy, now more than ever before, we need to permeate the atmosphere with positive energy. We need not stay in relationships just because we're loyal to them. That doesn't mean that we don't love them, right? You've heard the term loving from a distance. Now we have social distancing now, or physical distancing, but I'm talking about sort of staying connected spiritually and emotionally, but not necessarily physically, or disconnecting a little bit emotionally because this person's not healthy for you or something's not healthy for you. Maybe it's not a person. Maybe you stayed in a job way too long. Maybe you stayed at a faith-based community way too long. Maybe you stayed in some kind of system way too long. Maybe you stayed in your stinking thinking, right? We're talking about letting go of negative thoughts way too long because you're loyal to the messages that you've always heard from someone early on in your life, and you've not been able to let it go. That is a loyalty conflict as well, not just with a person, but that we've just been this way for so long that we're unwilling or unable to just let it go. And that's problematic because those persons who are not growing, right, they end up dying, not necessarily physically, but emotionally. So that loyalty is really key. And then staying in relationships for legacy, like this is what we do. We don't let it go. We just hang in. You've heard this concept, blood is thicker than water and we're family, so you find, at least I do as a family therapist, that people just don't know the pathway. They haven't developed an avenue sort of to grow out of a relationship so that legacy keeps them in it or keeps them doing the same thing. But if any of you know the language for persons that are in addictions, right, recovery, they say that doing the same thing and expecting a different result is sort of the indicator of insanity, right? So, and I tend to say that oftentimes change can be healing. So this whole process of being in quarantine due to this pandemic has a lot to do with us creating change and purging, letting go of the old ways in which we functioned, letting go of some even ways in which we have operated that have not served us very well, so that we can move into a healthier space with new language, with new ideas, with new attitudes, certainly with positive messaging, right? And letting go of the fearing less, so that we can really open ourselves up to all that life has for us. And then, of course, not just the loyalty, not just the legacy, but the longevity. There are ways in which our loyalty conflict has to do with how long we've been in it. Longevity is a powerful entity to kind of fight. We just kind of been downtrodden, or we've just been negative in our thinking, or we've just functioned from a place of lack versus abundance for so long that it causes us to just stay in it. This is what's familiar. Our pastor, the Reverend Dr. Alan E. Waller, used to say that some of us would rather stay in a known hell versus an unknown heaven. And so that has a lot to do with the longevity of being in it. But this is a time of not just process, but power. You can harness the power within you in order to grow through all of this if you attend to it, right? Being intentional is really, really key. Okay?
Yeah, a couple of comments here.
Hey, IG family.
All right, so what we got here? We have Gorm Ray says, guess my daughter taught me that recently that we can love people from a distance.
Mm-hmm.
She says, all right.
What's her name? Gorm Ray?
Gorm Ray.
Gorm Ray. Gorm Ray says, loving people from a distance. This is what her daughter taught her. Awesome.
My girl Alicia. Hey, Alicia, what's up? She said happy birthday to me, May 22nd.
Got a lot of happy birthdays there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and that's pretty much it. Just some comments here. Gorm Ray says, that is deep. We love from a place of lack, not abundance.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you guys in the IG family for hanging in there with us and for continuing to incorporate your thoughts and your comments and your ideas into this discussion. This is a dialogue, right? This is not a monologue. So we try to incorporate all of these ideas because we're growing together. Megan says, happy birthday to Morgan. So, all of you all are wishing Morgan a happy birthday. We're going to try to make it special for him in these next coming days. And he's busy doing lots of things for me. So it's now my job to try to make his life a little special and a little easier. My love language is acts of service. So he's constantly like bringing me coffee and my water while I'm upstairs working. So I have to think of some creative ways to make my hubby feel special. Huh? No, I'm just saying that my love language is acts of service. And so while we're both working in the home, oftentimes he's just serving me. I don't know what to say about that I just like it. I don't know what to say. I do. I don't know if I do the best job at it sometimes, though. I think I could do a better job, but no, because that's not Morgan's love language. Morgan's love language is physical touch and words of affirmation. So it's good to know our love languages. Maybe we'll do a whole segment on love languages at some point, right? In the quarantine talks, how to hang out with your hubby and your kids, because your kids have love languages as well. We all have love languages. So it's all good. It's all good. So guys, listen, go on over to the YouTube page and subscribe and hit the notification button. Also share, hit, give us a thumbs up, those smiley faces, those hearts, those help us with the algorithms. What we did not do is we did not do our mantra. I wanted to kind of have unpack that a little bit. And then we're going to go into the fear and the letting go of negative messages. But I wanted to unpack yesterday's conversation, and we'll even highlight a little bit of what one of our IG family members talked about with regards to lack and abundance. I think the distinction between those two are really, really important. So we're going to take a quick break from our sponsors. We're going to come right back. So stay with us.
The Charlie Lewis team at the Corcoran Group wants to show you how to love the way you live. I know all the neighborhoods, but the problem is it's only one me. So I wanted to build the best team, the team that had my values, that was fun, that was family.
Love the way you live elevates the buying experience to more than just a transaction.
This is about living your best life.
Excited about leaving home and returning home.
We have the accolades, but it's more than that.
We bring a certain cachet to the table based on our professional experience.
When you're working with a member of our team, you get the accumulated collective knowledge of the group.
Well, let me tell you what really matters. It's the client.
Every time you do a transaction, you're making a difference for your clients, whether that be an investment or putting them in the right place that they want, making sure that they get the bid that they need. We know New York City inside and out.
I don't want to just be your real estate expert. I want to be your neighborhood expert.
There are so many options in the West Village. Townhouses, condos, co-ops.
Where old New York meets new. Harlem is the creative, bustling energy of the city today.
Fort Greene is so Brooklyn, but it's just a stop from Manhattan.
Mott Haven, in the Bronx.
I tell them where they can go for the best food, drinks, where the closest amazing park is.
This is not a transaction. It really is a relationship.
After some deals, I feel like I can solve world peace because I help my clients communicate with each other.
You can depend on anybody on the team.
I really enjoy working with Charlie because he's got a level of passion and energy that I think is unmatched amongst people in general.
Anything you need is going to get done. We're just a reliable team.
But we're more than just a team.
We are a family.
The Charlie Lewis team at the Corcoran Group wants to show you how to love the way you live.
Hey guys, I'm back, and this is the Courageous Conversations Connect space, and we're having our quarantine talks. I'm Dr. RG. Thank you for hanging in there and staying with us. That commercial that we just had, that's one of our sponsors and one of our dear friends, Charlie Lewis. He is the owner of
a real estate company in New York. And he also has a platform called Love the Way You Live. And tonight, actually, he's going to have what he's calling, he's been doing the Corona Chronicles. And tonight on his platform, if you go over to his Facebook page, he's going to be interviewing Mara Brock O'Keel, who has been an amazing producer and director in California for many, many years. She was the brainchild of Girlfriends. She also produced Love Is, which was on for a couple of seasons, I believe. And she's just amazing. So check her out. She's going to be awesome. That conversation, I'm going to be on it too. Megan says, and it's time. It is true that most men have physical touch as their love language. Laugh out loud. Yes, they do. They do, Megan, which is fine. Actually, now that we're in this space of social distancing and physical distancing, there's been a new term called touch hunger. That's really come out of the fact that we are now realizing, which we should have before, that most of us actually, we crave touch, right? Whether it's holding hands or hugging or kissing. I had to have a conversation with my dad because I feel like he is actually craving touch, because our routine is typically to kiss on both cheeks. This is what we do in our family. And very, very early on in this process, that was his expectation before he knew what social distancing was, before he knew that this was a pandemic. And he didn't understand. He was like, well, come on over and you give me a hug and a kiss. And I was like, I can't, Dad, because I don't want to infect you. And this is before, when they were talking about the young people were just carriers, that they couldn't get sick, but they could hurt their loved ones. And so I was very, very fearful. And it took a couple of conversations with him to get him on board that we were just going to blow kisses at each other and not do the physical touch right now. But thank goodness, since Morgan and I live together, we don't have to worry about that. We can do plenty of physical. We can do. He's so funny. So we can do plenty physical touching. My husband, he keeps the humor. He keeps the humor alive. Could you imagine me being, here with somebody that's just like me, very serious all the time? So he keeps me laughing most of the time. Not all the time, but most of the time. Yes, babe.
A couple little comments here for IG. This is that I think it is so important for women to identify their love language. That's what she says.
Mm-hmm.
And then Gorm Ray says, yes, I always ask my husband for hugs, and he looks at me like I'm kidding. I'm giddy or something. I'm kidding or something like that.
Kidding. Okay.
All right, got it. And
so you always ask her husband for hugs, and this is what's her name?
Huh?
The person?
Gorm Ray.
Gorm Ray. She always asks her husband for hugs, and he looks at her like she's kidding or something like that. Yeah. Hugs are important. Touch is important. Yeah. All right. Thank you, IG family. So we're going to do a whole thing on love languages. I think we need to do something to help us to physically connect and figure out what our love languages are. So we'll work that into the conversation as we move forward with quarantine talks. We're going to move into our mantra. Remember, we talked about our mantra for all week. We've been doing it. We just kind of delayed it a little bit. But the mantra, no, I just forgot. But but let's do it now. Yes, it's real quick, but because I think it's really important, because I want people to know that they can do this for themselves. When our mantra for the week is, we turn pain into power when we appreciate the process. So we do that 3 times, and we breathe in between, and then you carry this mantra with you throughout the day. So we'll do that right now, and then we'll move into the next part of our conversation. So center yourself. Yes. At the sound of my voice, when I count to 3, we're going to say it together. 1, 2, 3. We turn pain into power when we appreciate the process. Breathe in and out. We turn pain into power when we appreciate the process. Breathe in and out. Last time, we turn pain into power when we appreciate the process. Breathe in. Yes, and out. Good job. So as we transition, we're
talking about the purging. Omega says, when is the virtual couple retreat? My husband and I will be there. Y'all seem super cool. Awesome. We are actually coming soon. You know, we've been thinking about the fact that you all, Morgan and I, before you all came on this platform and before we actually were in quarantine, we would have our date nights. And we would actually come on our way to a cool restaurant or someplace, interesting, if you will. And we talk about where we were going and we sort of give a message out. So we've been so busy doing quarantine talks, and then I shift gears and do media, and then I shift gears and see my clients, which today I'm actually seeing clients, not as late. I think I'll be finished about 4 or 5 today. But I think that we're going to begin to start back up something. I'm not sure. We're gonna now talk about what that is.
Like you don't know, but I got 2 racks of baby back ribs. I'm gonna.
That's my other acts of service. Morgan is an amazing cook. I think really we should call him a chef, Chef Morgan, because it's just amazing. And I love everything. I feel like I'm the taste tester, and he's like, "How's it, baby?" And I'm like, "It's everything." I've never tasted anything that Morgan has prepared that was not good. And he hooked me early on. I think our first anniversary, he made like this stuffed lobster and no, our first Valentine's. No, Valentine's. That's what it was. It was Valentine's. Yeah, our first. Yes, you did. You cooked before that, but I was just saying that was the meal that you cooked that was really, really good. Anyway, we will do something related to couples. If you all really want that, what we need from you is to ask questions, to send in the chat the questions that you want us to talk about. And then that will be a real conversation between us as a couple, and you all as either couples or people who are in relationship about, how to do this quarantine thing together. Real talk, because it's not always easy. Karen, hey, good morning, Karen. Thanks for joining. I see Tracy on as well. What do we do when your partner doesn't understand that in order to get his love language fulfilled at the time, he needs to satisfy all of her love languages most of the time? Well, that is a good question, Karen. And so now I'm seeing that we definitely need to unpack this love language. We don't even have enough time to unpack those love languages. For those of you who don't know, the book that this started from was called The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. And it has 5 love languages: acts of service, physical time, physical touch, quality time, acts of service, gift giving, and words of affirmation. Those are the 5 love languages. And the truth is that sometimes we don't understand that. So that we're walking around with negative thoughts in our heads, with anxiety, with feelings of disappointment, if you will, or frustration because our love languages aren't being fulfilled. And that is a problem, because the truth is when we go into these relationships, the expectation, at least the adult relationships, is that we'll have some level of satisfaction. And oftentimes we tend to give other people the love language that is ours, as opposed to trying to unpack and understand what theirs is. Or sometimes they just don't understand at all. And what I like to say sometimes is that relationships are work. No matter what way you look at it, it is work. You can love and like the person, but you have to put in the work. In some ways, it's fun and it's a wonderful institution in terms of marriage and coupling, but you really can't do it successfully and be significant, because Morgan and I believe this is our ministry, right? You can't do that if you're not putting in the work every day, right? And here's what I would say, just as a real example, you wouldn't go on a job and say, I'm lazy, I'm not a team player, I don't like to learn new things about my, what the boss wants or my supervisor or what the job needs. I just want to collect a paycheck, but will you please hire me? That just doesn't work, right? So why would you go into a relationship and not be willing to put the work in to get to know your partner, get to know yourself, what you both need, what you want, who you are, and how you're growing together, and then be able to check in with each other to say, how am I doing? That's what you would do in a job, right? That's what you would do in your place of appointment. You'd sit down and you'd identify the things you think you're doing well and the things perhaps that you still need to grow at or grow with. And then your supervisor, whomever, would say what their thoughts are, their feedback about how you're doing. And then you'd collaborate together. How can we elevate together? How can we rise up together? What is it that we can do that will allow our entity, to be better? So that's up for a whole nother conversation. But to answer specifically, Karen, your question about what do you do, I think that you got to have some courageous conversations. Quite frankly, here in this book right here, Courageous Conversations Connect, there is a whole chapter that's called The Cost of Love, Money, Sex, and Kids, How to Win in Your Relationships. And there's sort of a rubric or a structure for how to have those conversations with your partner to help you to move to a healthier place where both parties are having some of what they need. Nobody gets everything 100%, right? There's an 80-20 kind of rule, but you can talk about what is it that you're getting and celebrate that, and what is it that is lacking, and then begin to work on that. And then there's some other parts of this that I think that would be really helpful to people. Morgan is working very hard on making sure that other books that I've mentioned are on our website, like the 5 Love Languages. Also, The New Rules of Marriage is a really good one by Terrence Real that specifically talks about how you manage the ebbs and flows of a relationship so that each party gets what they want. And Karen says exactly, it's work. Some people get lazy after a certain age. Yeah, I do think that, that's interesting. Morgan and I were talking about that the other day about, I think I had asked him a question based on some thoughts I was having about just different, people that I'm working with. And I said, do you think that after a while, people start taking their partners for granted because they're just tired or they're overwhelmed or they just start getting inconsiderate? There's, Morgan and I do, I think, a really good job when we are offering each other our love languages to say simply thank you. There's not a meal that he cooks for me where I don't say, thank you, babe, that was really, really good. Or when he brings me coffee, and he does the same thing for me. He's often saying to me, thank you, babe, for, just sharing how much you love me and how much you care for me, because his love language is words of affirmation. So we're constantly trying to support one another and sow into each other's lives by lifting each other up with feeding each other our love languages. But sometimes we do get a little bit.
Are you doing your nerves?
Well, that will be real with that, Well, that's why I banish myself to my room. I send myself to my room when I feel like we're getting on each other's nerves. Ooh.
But we always come back together.
Well, Morgan says don't get stuck on stupid, right? And I say that, we need to have a quick recovery. So we try not to go to bed angry with one another. We also try to make sure that we don't stay in that angry place or that place of being upset. Because at the end of the day, we have each other, right? And we're blessed and grateful that we have each other. And so that's kind of how I like to look at it. Like, I'm not going to stay in this place for very long, and I'm going to move too quickly, appreciating what I do have versus focusing on what I don't have. And so it's work. It's definitely work. And to the, point of the conversation that we've been having about letting go of our fear and letting go of our negative thoughts. The negative thoughts feed the fear, right? We can either forget everything and run or face everything and remain. But sometimes when we get in our heads and we start having these negative thoughts, I'm sorry about my allergies. Those negative thoughts will take over and they start reverberating in our heads, and they become real. They become more powerful. And then before you know it, that becomes your reality. We were just talking last week watching a podcast that talked about our personality can turn into our personal reality. And what that means is that oftentimes what we think becomes what we believe, and what we believe becomes who we are, and who we are becomes the ways in which we act it out. And so we've got to change our thought process. And it starts with us being intentional about what we're thinking, what we're putting into our heads, which has a lot to do with our friend group and the people that we spend time with. Have you ever really been in a relationship with someone that they just never say anything positive? They never have anything, to elevate or to uplift or to support or to affirm. Those are persons that you might need to distance from, let go of, at least create a little bit of healthy distance. And if that person is you, then there may need to be a self-evaluation or some inventory of how you think about your thoughts, right? Just really checking yourself before you wreck yourself, thinking, okay, this is the third day or this is the third week that I've just been really not positive. And it's hard, quite frankly, because many people are dealing with this pandemic and the fears, which is why I connected the letting go of the fear and beginning to let go of the negative thoughts and beginning to appreciate. Remember, go back to the 5 A's. You start with the acceptance and then the adjustment, then adapting, and then appreciating, and then acknowledging a new attitude. Those are the 5 A's, really to help you to reframe your thought process, beginning to let go of the old tapes and beginning to infuse new tapes. So as we move beyond, right, as we move through and we grow through this process that we are experiencing together, my hope is that, we'll end up on the other side stronger, with more positive engagement, a healthier way of thinking about things, and less fearful. This is about purging. So as you move through Friday, and go into your weekend, our prayer is that you have an amazing weekend, that you level up on the things that matter most to you, whether it's your family or your friends or yourself, whatever projects that you've been working on, or if you just need to rest, then allow yourself to rest, allow yourself to engage with positive engagement or positive energy, and let go of the fear and the negative thoughts. We're going to see you next Monday at 10 o'clock for the Courage. Oh, by the way, we're going to take a break. I'm sorry. The second day I did this. We're going to take a quick break and then we're going to come right back. Stay with us. I'm sorry.
Growing a business can be overwhelming. However, it doesn't have to be difficult. With the right resources, task becomes easier and the rewards are great. Easy Make Systems makes online marketing and business management less confusing and more affordable. We've placed all the necessary components to make your job easier. Our Easy Make website builder gives you the ability to create stunning websites or landing pages. Utilize our Easy Make Social to stay current with social media and our Easy Make Mail to drive more engagement through emails. How about creating 24/7 customer service with our Easy Make bots to be there whenever your customer needs to reach you? And more importantly, you can access all of our software on an easy-to-use dashboard that gives easy access from one location. Easy Make Systems is your single source solution.
I was saying that to our IG family that I was asking them, what are they doing and what are you guys doing for the weekend? It can be good. It can be amazing. It can be exciting. It can be innovative. It doesn't have to be, I can't do anything because I'm quarantined. No, be creative. If you had kids, you would say, when kids say I'm bored, you say, well, smart people are never bored because they get creative. I certainly know that Morgan and I have been being creative in terms of how we're spending our time together. There definitely hasn't, it's been going, 7 weeks now. And there's been not a dull moment in the Wilson household for sure. So what are you guys doing? Tanya says the 5 A's is wonderful to bring up, level up on loving myself enough to let go of negative relationships. Love, love, love that, Tanya. Level up, right? She says level up on loving herself enough to let go of negative relationships. And that really is what it's all about. It's about having a love affair with yourself, learning to like yourself, learning to appreciate yourself, utilizing this time, this purposeful pause to engage in all of the wonderful things that we can actually do, so that when we do grow through this, when we get to the other side, and we will, this too shall pass. The question is, will we be better for it? Will we be stronger? Because we are resilient. We are tough. And we can grow through this together. We're stronger together. So anyway, we have a hard stop today to pivot to another media engagement, but I hope that you all have an amazing weekend. We will see you here on Monday at 10 o'clock for the Courageous Conversations Connect Space Quarantine Talks. I love you. If no one else told you that, I love you. Morgan loves you. There's nothing you can do about it. Have a beautiful weekend on purpose, from my heart to yours.